If you're in property management, you know the feeling, right? You're ambitious. You want to add more doors. You want to grow that portfolio, and you definitely want to increase your revenue. But at the same time, you're stretched so thin, you're constantly putting out fires, and you just have this nagging feeling that your business cannot possibly handle one more thing. Well, let's dive into this exact problem and figure out how to finally break through it.
You know that feeling isn't just in your head. It's a real, documented, industry-wide issue that we call the growth paradox. The desire to grow is absolutely everywhere, but the reality of actually making it happen, well, that's a whole different story.
So what is really going on here? This stat from Billiam's industry report is pretty staggering. It shows this huge gap between what we want and what we get. Think about it. 3/4 of you listening right now are actively planning to expand, but almost a quarter of those plans, they just don't work out. That's a massive disconnect. So why? Why is that gap so wide? That's the big question we're going to unpack today.
To get to the answer, we've got to look beyond the spreadsheets and get real about the day-to-day grind. See, the real barrier to growth isn't a lack of opportunity out there. It's something we call the burnout bottleneck.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. So many businesses become totally dependent on the owner. Every single decision, every approval, every little crisis has to run through one person, you. Growth stalls because, let's be honest, there are only 24 hours in a day. You haven't really built a business, you've built yourself a very, very demanding job.
And this operational chaos, it has a very real human cost, and we have the data to prove it. Just look at these numbers from the Swift Bunny Mental Health Study. A staggering 64% of property management teams feel stressed about their workload, and over half are working more than 40 hours a week just to tread water. This just isn't sustainable. It's the fast track to burnout.
And let's get even more specific about those stressors. A survey from the National Apartment Association lays out the daily battles. Now, it's probably no surprise that dealing with difficult residents is at the top. But look what's right behind it. Mental health, the inability to switch off, burnout, staffing issues. These aren't client problems. These are internal, system-level problems. And when you can't switch off, you can't recharge, and you absolutely cannot think strategically about growing your business.
Okay, so here's the most important takeaway from all this. If you're feeling this strain, it is not a personal failure. You're not failing because you aren't working hard enough. The system itself is broken. The traditional owner-in-the-middle model of property management, it just wasn't built to scale.
Now, this broken model doesn't just cost you your time and your peace of mind. Oh no. It is also quietly, secretly draining your bank account. We call it the hidden revenue leak.
3 to 7%. Just take a second and think about what that percentage means for your business. For a lot of firms, that's tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue every single year. This isn't just a rounding error. For many, it's the difference between just surviving and truly thriving.
So where is all this money going? Well, it's not one big thing. It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's those late fees you forget to chase down, the utility charges that get missed, that extra day or two a unit sits vacant because the paperwork isn't ready. It's inefficient maintenance calls and simple data entry typos that end up costing a fortune to fix later. Each one seems small, but man, they add up to a massive financial leak.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. An operational model that causes burnout and leaks cash. So, how do we fix it? Well, the answer isn't to work harder. It's to work smarter by building a system that can run without you being in the middle of everything. And the key to that is strategic delegation. This slide just perfectly shows the transformation we're talking about. On the left, you've got the classic owner bottleneck, where everything funnels through you. But on the right, you have a scalable system. See the difference? The owner moves from being in the day-to-day chaos to overseeing a smooth-running machine, while a dedicated pro handles all those critical operational tasks.
And that dedicated professional is a property management virtual assistant, or a PMVA. Now, this is not just some generic admin helper. A PMVA is a trained specialist who gets the unique demands of your industry, from leasing and tenant communication to maintenance and bookkeeping. They're a remote extension of your team, specifically designed to unblock your workflow and free you up.
And hey, this isn't just theory. We see this kind of transformation happen all the time. Let's look at a few real-world examples of businesses that completely broke free from that growth paradox.
So our first story is from a firm down in Dallas, and their pain point, I'm sure it sounds familiar to a lot of you, they were just drowning in paperwork, completely swamped, and because of that, they had zero time or energy left to actually grow the business.
So after they brought on a virtual assistant to handle all that admin, the results were, well, they were dramatic. The owner got back 20 hours a week? 20! And what did they do with all that newfound time? They focused on growth and added 30 new doors to their portfolio in just 6 months. That is the power of delegation. All right, next, let's head down to Miami. Here we have a business owner who was trapped in that reactive cycle, just constantly putting out fires. Their whole day was spent dealing with tenant issues and maintenance emergencies, which left literally zero time for proactive business development.
By delegating all that tenant communication and maintenance coordination to a VA, they didn't just cut the owner's work week by 15 hours. They also plugged that hidden revenue leak we talked about. With someone dedicated to tracking every little fee and charge, they captured an extra $35,000 in their very first year. And for our final story, let's go to Denver. This one tackles that critical human cost. The owner saw that their team was just completely burned out. Stress was through the roof, morale was in the basement, and they were terrified of losing their best people to turnover.
So they brought in a virtual assistant to take all those repetitive administrative tasks off their team's plate. And the result? Stress levels plummeted, and employee turnover was completely eliminated. But not only did they save their team, they also created the extra operational capacity to easily handle 50 more units without adding any more stress. It was a total win-win. All of these stories point to the exact same conclusion. Real growth isn't about adding more hours to your day or more stress to your life. It's about building a better system. It's about making a fundamental shift in how you run your business.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. An asset is something that works for you, generating value even when you're not there. A job is something that just consumes you. By building these kinds of scalable systems, you can finally make that transition from owning a job to owning a true asset. If you're ready to make that leap and see what a scalable system could look like for your business, the first step is just understanding where your bottlenecks are right now. And that's where we can help. At Virtual NextGen Solutions, we offer a totally free, no-obligation operations assessment to help you pinpoint the exact areas where a property management virtual assistant can give you back your time and unlock your growth. Just visit our website at virtualnextgen.com or shoot us an email to schedule yours today.